Sanam, I'm Ram Krishan Singh. Good morning. And today I'd like to share some, reflections on this time and also some ideas that is what my wife and I, our work, we call cultural detox. So I was going to share something else this morning, but then I felt just to tune into where the world is right now and what type of perspective would be the most helpful. And yesterday I was reading a long article on this whole coronavirus situation, and it feels really applicable to look at taking a step back and looking at the big picture of where humanity is at, astrologically, what's going on right now, and understand that this is a period of great change. We're on the edge of changing into an era. In astrological terms, we are moving from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. And then if we look at the astrology of right now, Saturn has moved into Aquarius from Capricorn, meaning when Saturn was in Capricorn, the structures and the organization of the way that things are was centered in material structure, the material world, and moving more into Aquarius. Moving into Aquarius, when Saturn's there, it's the structure and the organization is more based in our ideals, more based in community. And so we're seeing the changes here on the world stage happen in this way because the process of change is not necessarily seamless. Well, it's not necessarily easy because we've been doing things in a one way for a long time, and then when we have to make that change into something new, it can be challenging. There can be a lot of growing pains, and there can be a lot of trying to figure out our new place and how things work in a new way to find our rhythm once again. So right now, this is a time where literally the earth and the intelligence of nature has created a situation where humanity has to stop. It's the same thing when I'm going so hard and not paying attention to any little messages, I get sick. And that sickness makes me stop and I rest. And then through a process of healing, of resting and allowing my body to take care of itself and stopping, I come back to a place of balance. And then I'm much more, I have a different pace, you could say. So in the same way, it looks like what's happening on the world stage is we have this virus coming and really stopping things, and it's giving everybody an opportunity and a chance to reflect more deeply on life itself. And it's a really interesting time. A lot of people can be spending more time with their families or more time just um, in solitude, not having so many outward distractions and movements and things to do. So it really puts us through the beginning, the initial stages it could, what we call cultural detox, because we've been accustomed to living in a certain way for so long. And it's just our norm. It's just like it's the air that we breathe. The way of life is just so second nature to us, we don't even think about it. And these things that we do might not necessarily be in our highest interest, but they still are just normal for us to do them. So we don't think about them and we just do them. And it keeps us locked into a certain type of a way of being and also experience of life. But when we have to stop that and then we get isolated, it's what we do in the jungle. We don't have any sort of distractions. Sure, there are plenty of distractions. There's the internet, especially right now, and social media and all that, tons of distractions. But when we don't have the outward movements, it does slow us down a bit and gets us more in touch with what's real, what's going on. And it starts a process where we can't distract ourselves away from painful feelings or any sort of pain that we experience. Pain could be a dissatisfaction from our life. That's one type of pain. Could be grief, sadness, sense of guilt from the past, whatever it may be. All of that starts to bubble to the surface because we're no longer avoiding it through either chasing after something else or moving so quickly, doing so many distracting things that it gets us more in touch with what's going on. And again, it gives us an opportunity to reflect more deeply. Well, is this really what we want to be doing? So, process of cultural detox puts us in touch with what's going on, and then through different tools and technologies helps us to essentially unravel the knots of what are causing the pain, giving us different perspectives to look at what we're feeling, what we're experiencing. It helps us to move through the process of processing the painful emotions, processing any sort of density that we're experiencing that doesn't allow us to just be, doesn't allow us to just be, and in that beingness experience peace. So that's what we call cultural detox. And I feel like the whole world to some degree is going through that because we're not doing the culture, we're not doing the societal thing to do right now. It's a cease of that. So it's a really great time to minimize social media consumption. It's a great time to use this space for creative endeavors, for reflection, for really allowing ourselves to slow down and come more in touch with our own reality. What exists right now? What is the truth of right now? Before we even try to be creative, we just get in touch with what's real. And so when we do that, we oftentimes experience, oh, there's actually anxiety, or there's pain, or there's anxiousness, or there's something that's not necessarily pleasant. And that is really the beginning of the healing process. The first step is just to bring light to the situation, to bring awareness to the situation. And this process of coming into wholeness, healing, coming into wholeness, realizing wholeness is initiated by that, by coming in touch with what is. So I like to see the whole process itself as a process that takes us from the moment of coming in touch with what is, forgiveness, and moving into a state of gratitude. And that's like the whole journey is right in that, in this moment, but it starts with forgiveness. So when I was a Buddhist monk, I practiced a forgiveness meditation for 1 month straight. I was literally, every single thing that I did, I was in a state of meditation and forgiveness, forgiving myself for everything. So the guidance of that practice was like, if you feel something, forgive yourself. If a thought comes up, forgive yourself. Just any nuance of your inner dimension of what's going on, just forgive, moment to moment. And that has an effect of really helping us to release, because the quality of forgiveness, I like the description, it's for giving. You're giving something forward. Any energy or investment or judgment of the past, anything that's holding on, is being released, let go, and recirculated. Our energy is no longer being held in the past, ideas of the past, because we're just recreating a sense of past. Every single present moment, we're recreating it. And that's an investment of energy, and that's creative energy that's going into holding this fixed sense of what happened. And it holds a lot of our vital resource for creativity of our life, and also health and well-being and happiness, and all of that gets invested in the past, telling stories over and over and over again. So this idea of forgiveness is to feel into a frequency of love that exists already. So we're not needing to generate it ourselves. We're just allowing ourselves to be receptive to it. And the word forgiveness is encoded in itself that helps us to tune into that precise frequency. When we just evoke that word, it's a concept that leads to a precise frequency or energy. And that helps us when we go into this space of feeling to be able to essentially dissolve or release. It's a releasing type of energy of love. So there's a meditation, the one that I was given as a Buddhist monk. It is a simple mantra. You can go into a meditative space where you're just sitting, you're becoming aware of what is, you're being as relaxed as possible, and you have this mantra, I forgive myself for not understanding. And I forgive myself for not understanding. And you just use that like a gong that continues to resonate that frequency and that energy and allow yourself to release. And that means basically, I forgive myself for not understanding, because if we understand, everything is the perfection of God and there's nothing out of place. And if we could just surrender to that, we could experience a state of flow and release into this moment that it's a merger with this moment. And I believe that's what everybody is really seeking. I believe that's the encoded evolutionary trajectory that everyone feels motivated towards in a very subtle way, but we all just want to really merge back with reality in this ocean of life. And so I forgive myself for not understanding. It really helps us to release and become humble to the moment and not feel so much tension, resistance, continuing to use that moment after moment as needed. It's like striking a gong and the vibrations reverberate through us, helps us to release when we start to settle again. I forgive myself for not understanding. You could just do it inwardly like a mantra. Helps to open up tremendous space. So that's really the beginning of the whole healing journey, wholeness journey, is to just, one, become aware, and two, begin to forgive. It has the effect of also dissolving densities that create senses of limited identity. Because when we're vibrating in harmony with the universe, there's not anything fixed or stuck or solid. It's all vibration. It's all a flow. It's all renewed every moment, billions of, or trillions of times. We're always eternally new and renewed. And every aspect of our psyche, every aspect of our being is that reality. Forgiveness creates a sense of dissolution of the densities, which are of the heavier emotions. Layer after layer becomes dense and it becomes a fixed sense of self. Helps us to release into the reality of the way that things are. We feel more light, easeful. We feel life is much more pleasant, because we're not carrying around so much density. And every moment we are aware of the density within ourselves, but we're not necessarily consciously aware of it, but it is within the spectrum of our consciousness. It's just like subconscious or unconscious, but it's still heavy, and we still feel that moment to moment, even if we're not consciously aware of it. So this work really helps to lighten us up, get us more into a state of flow, where we feel the light of our soul, the light of the truth of this reality in this moment, shining through this moment, shining through all of reality as we dissolve the density. Starts with forgiveness. So I want to talk more on this as we go. And the process is leading from this moment, in touchness, forgiveness, to gratitude, where gratitude is this place of seeing the truth in all and being grateful for the perfection of what is. It's like forgiveness naturally leads to this space as the densities of heavy emotion and all that we have, the energy invested in our concepts and ideas of the past and what gets held, that dissolves. The reality shines through. We become naturally grateful. There's a flow of gratitude from our heart, and we live in this reciprocal energy exchange with the universe because we're just grateful for all that is. And it's a process of dissolving the ice and allowing things to flow. So that's what I felt to share with everyone today. And I look forward to sharing more. Hope you have a wonderful day. Satnam.